Okay, hi, Karina May here. Welcome to the first class in Module 2. Why you can't stop snacking. This is a question that I hear constantly from women who are trying to lose weight and they're trying to eat in a calorie deficit and they're just hungry all the time, particularly at night. So this class is designed to, or this training is designed to give you some more insight as to the role that the endocrine system and hormones play in something like why can't I stop snacking? So this is going to be a series of trainings that address different hormones, and I'll put it all together for you as to why it matters in your journey to weight loss. So why can't you stop snacking? The first important hormone to understand when it comes to that insatiable feeling is leptin. It's the hormone in charge of telling your brain that you're full. Think of it as an appetite regulator. An interesting fact is that it's one of the few hormones that's actually made by your fat cells. And it's also one of the components in the body that determines if the food that you eat gets burned as energy or gets stored as fat, particularly belly fat. Now, this is important because the more excess fat you have, the more leptin you produce. Now, one of the most fundamental things to understand about hormones is that they all work in sync together or all get out of whack together. So if you have one hormone that's a little bit out of balance, it can create a domino or waterfall effect in your endocrine system, setting you up for a whole host of other symptoms. In perimenopause, the beginning of that domino effect is when our levels of estrogen start to drop. I'm not going to go too deep into this, but just hang in there for a couple of minutes with me. Okay, so estrogen regulates leptin, the appetite regulator, the hormone that's an appetite regulator that you just heard about. When there's too much leptin coursing through the body, telling the brain not to eat, the end result is that the brain starts to ignore the message that you're full. So estrogen starts to dip, regulation of leptin starts to get thrown off course. And what can end up happening is that if you have more fat stores on your body's going to produce too much leptin, which you would think would be a good thing. You would think that that would help you stop eating, but it just doesn't work like that. When too much leptin is coursing through the body over time, telling the brain not to eat, the brain gets tired of hearing the message. It's very similar to insulin resistance, right? The brain starts to ignore the message that you're full, and over time, it leads to what's called leptin resistance. So this is when women suddenly find themselves eating a lot more than they ever have before, feeling hungry more often, not feeling satisfied after a meal. And so just imagine someone has finished dinner, they know they've had enough food, but they still have this strong desire to eat. And so they hit the nighttime snacking cupboard, right? And end up mindlessly eating a ton of calories right before bed. This is a sure sign of leptin resistance, but it's not the only sign. Really, a pattern of overeating, mostly comfort foods, since we crave those more often, is the telltale sign. The next stage of the domino effect is that leptin resistance causes an increase in the fat storing hormones of cortisol and insulin. These two are the most efficient hormones at storing fat. An unfortunate combination of both overeating and extra fat accumulation, especially in the belly, is a result. So I don't want you to get overwhelmed or feel like you have to remember all the ins and outs of this information. But what I'm sharing this information with you so it can give you a more well-rounded and deeper understanding of what the hormones are that could be contributing to you feeling like you're hungry all the time, that you don't have control over your snacking. Maybe you're chronically feeling tired, but when you try to go to sleep, your anxiety or your energy level is up. So it's that tired but wired feeling. You're snacking even when you don't feel that hunger feeling in your belly. And maybe you've found yourself having to buy a size up continuously as time goes on post-menopause. So I've been studying nutrition and the endocrine system for so many years now. So don't feel like this information should be common knowledge. I'm just teaching you this stuff so, like I said, you can have a better understanding of what's going on in your body and maybe why it's been so hard to change some patterns. And those patterns might be one of the things that's getting in the way of you losing the weight that you want. So if all of this information is new to you, then that's awesome. It means you're even closer to being able to solve your problem. But I get it if you're like, okay, well, now what do I do? Okay, if leptin resistance is my reality, what do I do now? And the answer is to book that 15-minute call immediately, because that's where I can hear about your story and I can hear what's going on, and I can almost immediately tell if you're leptin resistant and what to do about it. So this is going to be really key in your weight loss journey, is understanding how the different hormones impact your body's ability or willingness to let go of weight. And when we say hormones, oftentimes we're thinking of just the heavy hitter sex hormones like estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. Those hormones are super, super important, and clearly they play such a big role in our experience during menopause and perimenopause, but they're not the hormones that we have the most access to shift in a positive way with things like diet and exercise. Hormones like leptin, the appetite regulator. Another one is ghrelin. It's the hormone that tells your body that you're hungry. I'll be talking about that one in a different training. Another hormone that's super, super important is called adiponectin. And this hormone, most folks have never even heard of before in their lives. That's going to be in the next training. I'm going to talk to you about what adiponectin is, why that one's super important. And then in the third training in this module, I'm going to talk to you about the ratio between the leptin and adiponectin and why the ratio of those two things absolutely matter. And these are the things that could get you down to really understanding why you're feeling so frustrated. I think one of the things that really bothers me, I hear from women all the time, is that they feel like their inability to lose weight, especially after 40, is their fault. And these are the things that once you understand them, you get to understand why it's actually not your fault and how we've been conditioned to think about weight loss in the exact way that actually is keeping us from being successful. So losing weight over 40 is not complicated. It's not a secret. It's just not well understood, and it has to be nuanced. So understanding and taking these first steps to really understanding the role of some other hormones in your body is going to be really, really key in order to clearing the obstacles away and getting them out of your way so that your body can actually work with you instead of making you feel like you have to fight against your body. I was in my group call this morning with a woman that I've been working with who has reached her weight goal, and she's been maintaining it. She feels free in her body. She feels free in her food choices. And she was telling me today that the most important thing that she's been able to take away from the strategies that I've been able to teach her is that she doesn't feel like she's at war with her body. And when she was sharing that with me, I could feel the emotion in her. There's a sense of freedom and liberation that can come with this level of understanding of what's going on in your system, and a release of blaming yourself or thinking that you're not working hard enough, or you're not strong enough, or you don't have enough willpower to change your habits. I want you to understand the biological and physiological reasons as to why, if you're over 40 years old and in perimenopause and menopause, that losing weight is just much more difficult. It's only more difficult if you don't have the right information and if you don't have the right system. So this is the first module to start to understand. I'm going to try to layer these teachings in one at a time, so it's not a bunch of new understanding just thrown at you all at once. So dig into the next module. It's about adiponectin, and then the one after that will probably be about the leptin and adiponectin ratio. They call it the adipoleptin ratio, and why that is important to know. So don't feel overwhelmed. Don't worry. I'm going to walk you through all of these things. Book your 15-minute call, your free 15-minute call, and it will help clear up any confusion, and we'll be able to get you started on the right plan that's actually going to work for you. I really look forward to talking to you.